Okay, so we have skipped over lesson 5. We are working on lesson 6 today. In lesson 6, what's new is we've got a lot of fractions in it, and just making sure we can still do the same process with the fractions. So we are starting with example 3 at the bottom of the page. I am not asking you to justify the steps or write it out. Okay? So the first thing I will be doing is changing my subtraction to addition. So 5 1/3, okay, plus, that makes this negative 3 1/3 times 1.5 x plus negative 1/4. Okay, now that I've changed all my subtraction to addition, I'm going to multiply through with the distributive property. It means I'm multiplying this term by everything that's in parentheses. Now, when you're doing that, you're welcome to use your calculator to help with the multiplication. You're going to see on the next lines, I'll be writing things in simplest form, just because if you're using a calculator, that's one less step to plug it into the calculator, just for speed of work. Okay, so I have 16/3 plus, and then I'm going to multiply negative 3 1/3 times the positive 1/2, and when I do that, I get negative 5/3 x plus, and then I multiply negative 3 1/3 times negative 1/4. So multiplying a negative times a negative is positive. And then 3 1/3 times 1/4 is 5/6. All right, now when I'm looking at what I can or cannot combine, I can combine this with this, but I cannot combine either of those with the negative 5/3 x because they do not have an x. So I have negative 5/3 x plus, I add 16/3 plus 5/6, and when I do that, I get 37/6, and then you can leave it in simplest form, or you can change it to mixed numbers, 1 2/3 x plus 6 1/6. All right, next page. Hi, so again, starting with this, the first thing I'm going to do is change my subtraction to addition. So negative, actually, when I write them, I'm going to go ahead and put them in simplest form as well. Just save that extra step later. So 19/3 plus a negative 1/2 times 1/2 plus y. So now I'm going to multiply negative 1/2 through applying my distributive property. So negative 19/3 plus, I have negative 1/2 times a positive 1/2, and so I get negative 1/4 plus negative 1/2 times y, so negative 1/2 y. Alright, so then I look to see what I can combine, and these two terms do not have a variable, so I can add those together. And so when I add those together, I'm going to go ahead and change it at that point to back to a mixed number as well. Negative 6 7/12 plus negative 1/2 y. Okay. On the next one, got one place to change subtraction to addition. So I have 2/3 plus 1/3 times 1/4 f plus a negative 4/3 there. So now I'm going to multiply through with 1/3. So 2/3 plus 1/3 times 1/4 f is 1/12 f plus 1/3 times negative 4/3, that becomes negative 4/9. Then I look to see what I can combine. These two do not have variables, so they can be combined. And then 1/12 f can't be combined with anything else because nothing else has an f with it. So 1/12 f plus 2/9. Okay, we're going to skip over example 4 and go ahead and go to the next page. Okay, on exercise 4 at the bottom. Okay, when you see something that looks like this, you are going to have to look for that common denominator. And so you have to think to yourself, 3, 9, and 6, what's something they will all go into? And that would be 18. So in order to get 3 to 18, I would have to multiply it by 6. So I have 6 times 2h over 18 minus, then to get 9 to 18, I'd have to multiply it by 2. So 2 times h plus 6 times 3 is 18. So I have 3, and then I have h minus 4. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to take, you'll notice we have the same denominator all the way across the bottom. So 6 times 2h is 12h minus 2h plus, multiplying through with my distributive property here, 3h minus 12. And all of that is over 18. Now I look across the top and I have several with h's that I can combine. So I have 12h minus 2h, that's 10h, plus 3h is 13h. So 13h minus 12, and all of that is over 18. You can leave your answer in this form, but more commonly people at that point will separate it back out. 13h minus 12/18, and 12/18 simplifies to 2/3. So you will probably more commonly see the 13h over 18 minus 2/3. Okay, on to the next page. Okay, this problem, we're going to just use one method here. So to start with, I'm going to multiply through with the distributive property. And so I have 6x minus 8 over 6 minus 5x plus 2, and that is over 8. Common denominator here is 24. So I'm going to multiply the first set by 4, and I'm going to multiply the second set by 3. So 4 times 6x minus 8 over 24, and 3, 5x plus 2 over 24. Okay, so I end up with 24x minus 32, 24 minus 15x plus 6 over 24. All right, now I'm going to combine everything across the top, and when I do that, this subtraction, okay, changes everything after it to its opposite. So I end up with 24x minus 32 minus 15x minus 6, and all of that is over 24. So now I'm going to rewrite as addition to make sure I combine terms correctly. And I can combine this one with this one, and then this one can be combined with this one. Forgot to put that over 24. All right, so 24x plus 15x is 9x. And then negative 32 minus 6 is negative 38. And all of that is over 24. Now at this point, like I said on the last one, you can leave it here, but more likely people are going to separate it out at this point and then simplify those fractions. And so dividing both of these in the first term by 3, so 3x over 8 minus, and then the second one, 19/12 or 1 7/12. Okay, we're going to look at one more example together. Okay, this one right here. Okay, so I have 2x minus 11 over 4 minus 3x minus 6 over 10. Then common denominator for these two would be 20. So 5 times 2x minus 11 over 20. And here multiplying by 2. 3x minus 6 over 20. Multiplying through 10x minus 55. 20 minus 6x minus 12 for 20. Reminder that when I change this, combine them across, that's going to change everything in this term to its other form. So 10x minus 55 minus 6x plus 12. All of that is over 20. Rewriting subtraction as addition. 10x minus 55, plus a negative 55, plus a negative 6x, plus 12, all of that over 20. And then I'm going to move over here, combining terms, so 10x plus negative 6x is 4x. Negative 55 plus 12 makes that a negative 43 over 20. And then this is where we break it back down and put them each over their separate one. So 4x over 20 minus 43 20ths, and then simplifying our terms. So we have 1/5 x, or x over 5, minus 2 3/20. All right, let's look at the problem set. Okay, on the problem set, you can see that I have crossed off quite a bit because I know these problems take a while to do. So make sure you pause this long enough to mark off the ones you do not need to do. You'll probably need scratch paper because there's probably not enough room here to do your work. Okay, all right.